So to preface this, you guys should know by now, but I'm a fucking awkward human being, right? Like I fake it till I make it, and sometimes I'm like super good and sometimes I'm not. Today was like a middle, but like not great. So we're doing the interview thing, like everything's going good, and then she starts asking the more like, I don't say personal questions, but the more like the proof questions. I don't know. But so she starts with, do you have a driver's license, your address? And I was like, yeah, here's your address. And he's like, do you have a proof of residency? No, I've never had to prove my residency before, but online it says you just need to bring like a utility bill or like some kind of bill. So I got my mom to like print out some copies of our bill. I would say our bill, the house bill, I guess. But apparently, I did not know this because this is my first time doing this. Apparently, it needs to be under your name to be able to prove that you live there. So she's like, do you have a utility bill that you pay for? And I'm like, no. And she's like, do you have some other kind of bill that you pay for, or mortgage bill I think it was that you pay for? And I'm like, no. He's like, do you pay for rent? And I was like, no, not yet. And then she's like, do you pay for anything? And at this point, I could see her like tone become more judgmental, and then I became like smaller and smaller. She's like, so do you like pay for anything? And I'm like, no. I was starting to get nervous because I was getting nervous. Realistically, like I do have bills. Like I could have showed her my car insurance that I pay every week, or my every month, or like my phone bill. But like I wasn't thinking. So like I think she thinks I'm a fucking freeloader, because then she was like, do you have like a pay stub? Like, where do you work right now? And I'm like, oh, I work at America's Pub Quiz. And it's like, what's the job like? She asked, what's the job like? And I'm like, oh, it's like this, blah, 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 blah. I go to bars, do trivia, freelance. And she's like, so freelance, so it's not like a stable job. And I'm like, no. It's like, you don't have a stable income? And I'm like, no. And then she's like, can you show me like a pay stub? And I had my last paycheck with me. And she's like, so that's what, can you explain this to me? Like, that's all you're making? And I'm like, well, I subbed these days, and then I have this show that happens twice a week. And then she's like, so you've had this job since 2021? And I'm like, yeah. So she's like, so you haven't had a stable income in 5 years? And I was like, what? I'm sorry, no. It was fucking awful. She was destroying me. She's like, well, at this age, we hope that you have more like financial responsibility, because we want people who are like we want to make sure you're responsible enough to do this. So let me finish this out of part 3. So give me a sec.